welcome Peter Mary. You are one of the best experts in virtual reality, at least in Ubiguity learning, as you are working for the Ubiguity University right now as a director of the research, we could say. And we just work for one day, more or less, 24 hours, about the different possibilities that we saw, that we can see happen in the future on virtual reality, different kind of scenario, different kind of views. So in a previous video, you introduced yourself. We also introduced what is virtual reality. We explain that virtual reality can spread very quickly because we can put this inside this, and then we have the possibility to be in virtual reality. So that is, everybody have it, and that is could be very cheap. So it could spread now very quickly. So perhaps let's see different kind of possible use. For example, a first evident, quite easy to understand use was to move Second Life to a virtual reality world. So in USA, they are working to move Second Life to a new project. So perhaps you can explain a little about this. And also, we could explore what could be a game using virtual reality to improve education.
Yeah, I think this is it's going to take off, particularly in the gaming industry the coming year. And my interest is how can we use this technology for education in particular. I think there's a couple of different possibilities that we've been discussing, and different people from the group have brought up different aspects. One, in a way, the simplest one to start with is like a 360-degree video or photos even of places where you actually, look around. You actually put the headset on and you look around you and you feel that you're really on the location. So somebody could build a tour of ancient Rome, for example, or modern-day Rome with a 360-degree video, and you can really go there. And as you look around you, you can move around and get a more embodied experience.
That is already happening, actually.
Yeah,
with
so
Google Map, you can go, and then you have a 3D virtual reality pictures, and then you take this and you can
Google
go inside.
Street View already have a virtual reality possibility. So that's one level of it, and that's more where you consume or experience the reality around you. But the next, the next level, you can think of how do you actually learn interactively in those environments. And I think there's a first phase which is more where you take the traditional structure of say teaching or lecturing in virtual realities. And what would be the advantage of that? Well, the advantage of that is that you can put people in the prime learning environments in virtual reality where every student has the experience that the faculty member has eye contact with them, and we know through research that enhances the learning transfer. And there's a certain position in the room which seems to enhance people's learning experience as well. So everybody would have the experience of being in that particular location. So you can create an enhanced lecture environment, as it were. But in a way, that's an easy first step. You're still taking the traditional form of learning in a way and taking it into virtual reality and enhancing it. The thing I'm most excited about is how you can develop more experiential learning in those environments. So if you look at multiplayer games, for example, online, take World of Warcraft or something, millions of people play these games. The question is, why do they play these games? So there's a certain design to the games that get the creative juices going in people. So how can we take those design principles and use them for a useful end rather than running around killing each other? How can we use those design principles and that creativity into solving some of the world's greatest challenges, for example? So the United Nations just agreed these 17 goals, that we have to work towards. If that becomes an umbrella for, okay, what do we need to learn to be able to achieve those goals? And how could we, rather than being kind of butch warriors wandering around these worlds? How could we create a game environment that has you trying to solve some of these major challenges and come up with solutions for them? And in doing so, there's things you'll need to learn. You'll be able to demonstrate that you've developed certain competencies. For that, you can get rewards like badges or credits or diplomas or even degrees eventually as you add up your credits. But it becomes an environment that's rooted in the real challenges of the world. And that environment you could see as a kind of rehearsal for a reality. So it's a training ground where you go in, okay, this is the problem I really want to work on in the world. Here's a space that I can experiment with working on it in a safe environment. I can make mistakes, I can rapid prototype and iterate and test it out, and that learning I can then transfer and take into the real world. So it can be a kind of accelerator lab in terms of how we come up with solutions to those challenges, but in a very engaging environment that uses the design to stimulate people's creativity that you often see in different gaming environments. And different people will respond better to different stimulus, but you can personalize it in that way. And using the big data possibilities, you can track everybody's movements in these environments and give them instant feedback. So you were in this meeting, you were trying to solve a tough problem with some people. At that point, your blood pressure went up. What happened? What was going on in that moment? So there's great possibilities for learning in those environments that take us way beyond a two-dimensional screen, but actually put us in situations that can be designed for us to learn, test, and implement different competencies.
Yes, and if we put some sensor on your hand and in our brains, then we can have a huge interactivity between our brain, our move, and the computer, and the 3D world.
Yeah, that's
so right. That could be fascinating. Yeah. Do you think this kind of platform will even replace computer or what? Anyway, in the phone now we have the power of a computer, and it is going to continue. So do you think the 3D is the next measure? You have the big computer, and then the middle side, and then the tablet, and then the phone, and then that will be perhaps the measure we will work all the time in a virtual reality, or what?
Well, it could be. I mean, who's to say? We have one of our team who does believe that the computing power of the telephone will eventually essentially make the computer redundant, and that we'll be working a lot more in those environments. That remains to be seen. At the moment, there's certain things you can do with virtual reality in the phones, but for something like the Oculus Rift, you need to be plugged into a laptop or actually a proper computer, because that has the
more
computing power
to. But that will change quite quickly.
Generate. But that could, with the exponential growth of things of technology, that could change quite quickly. The key with the emergence of this technology is going to be to make sure that we ground it all in the context of the real world, that it doesn't become a place for escapism and just pure entertainment, but it becomes a place that we use it to be able to help us develop ourselves to be more effective, positive change agents in the world. That's going to be the big challenge, because the technology can be used for good or can be used for worse. So how do we, in this wave that's emerging right now, how do we surf this wave to show how you could actually take this technology and use it for good to help create a world that works for everyone?
Thank you very much, Peter. See you soon.
Very welcome. Thank you, Michel.